What if one of rock's loudest legends was quietly called out by a man who lived through hell and came back stronger? Nikki Sixx, the unapologetic soul of Mötley Crüe, a survivor of overdose, chaos, and self-destruction, has just broken his silence about Gene Simmons. And what he says isn't just criticism, it's a full-blown reckoning. Behind the face paint and platform boots, Gene Simmons built an empire. He called himself a god of thunder. But to Sixx, he's the god of greed. Their feud didn't start with name-calling. It started with values. Nikki Sixx believes in the dirt of rock and roll, in bleeding for your fans, in using music as therapy, not a business strategy. But Gene Simmons? He turned rebellion into retail. He didn't just sell music, he sold everything around it. KISS caskets, KISS credit cards, KISS condoms. For Sixx, it wasn't genius, it was blasphemy, a betrayal of everything rock once stood for. And then came the moment that lit the fire for real. Gene Simmons went on record, dismissing addiction, calling it a weakness, saying people who suffer need to get over it. For Nikki Sixx, a man who died in an ambulance with a needle in his arm, those words weren't ignorant, they were personal. Sixx saw it not just as an insult to his journey, but an attack on every fan who found hope in music while fighting their demons. And he snapped. From that moment, their feud wasn't about personality. It was war between two worldviews. One fought for authenticity, the other for monetization. Gene Simmons didn't back down. He never does. But Nikki Sixx wasn't just throwing punches. He was holding a mirror. Because Gene's controversial behavior didn't stop with business. Behind the glam and pyro, Simmons has left a trail of fractured relationships, starting with his own band. His decades-long power struggle with Paul Stanley, KISS's other half, nearly tore the band apart. Stanley accused him of losing focus, prioritizing money over music, of forgetting what they were supposed to stand for. And the list of conflicts doesn't end there. Gene once claimed he discovered Van Halen, then suggested Eddie wanted to join KISS. The claim was denied, but the damage was done. It was Gene's signature move. Claim credit, stir chaos, walk away unfazed. Women in the music industry? Gene's track record speaks for itself, and it's not flattering. He bragged about betting thousands, dismissed female musicians as exceptions, and treated women like accessories to the KISS brand. To some fans, it was old-school rock star behavior. To others, a deep stain on a legacy already fraying at the edges. But Simmons' biggest battle wasn't in business or backstage. It was in his own home. Shannon Tweed, his partner of nearly 30 years, stood beside him through infidelity, ego, and emotional distance. She stayed, but it came at a cost. Their rocky relationship, laid bare on family jewels, showed fans what the bravado had been hiding. Shannon's ultimatum, get it together or I walk, wasn't a TV stunt. It was a cry for respect. And for once, Gene had to look inward. He married her in 2011, a rare moment of humility, but not a clean slate. Even after the vows, the wounds remained, the mistrust, the years of public humiliation, the weight of being married to a man who treated fame like a full-time job and family like a part-time hobby. His kids, Nick and Sophie, grew up in the long shadow of the demon persona. They've spoken about the pressure, the disconnect, what it felt like to be raised by a rock god who didn't always show up as a dad. It's the ultimate contradiction. A man who conquered the world, but struggled to be present in the lives that mattered most. And that's where Nikki Sixx draws the line. Because for Sixx, rock music saved his life. It was never about power. It was about pain, about turning trauma into noise, so loud it couldn't be ignored. And when someone like Gene Simmons tries to turn that into a brand, to Sixx, that's unforgivable. He's not just calling Simmons arrogant, he's calling him a fraud, a symbol of how the soul of rock got sold out, $1 at a time. Gene Simmons may have built a dynasty, but Nikki Sixx, he built a movement. And their feud? It's not just personal, it's a battle for the soul of rock and roll. Two legends, two legacies. Only one question remains. When the makeup fades, who's left standing? The businessman or the believer? Because in the end, history won't remember who sold the most merch. It'll remember who bled for the music. And Nikki Sixx, he bled.